Okay, colleagues, looking for others to weigh in here.
Madam President, if there's no one else, just...
Okay, I do see Councilmember Taylor with his hand up. Go ahead, Councilmember.
Okay, I was waiting on somebody else to go, but I'll go ahead and jump in with my thoughts. So I definitely hear those who express their concern there around being able to have a say in a vote and be a part of the process. I want to acknowledge that staff have done a significant amount of engagement already and in many different forums across the city through the community benefits process and so many others that I've been able to be a part of, and many that I haven't been able to be a part of just because there's been so much. I also hear that there's I wanted to acknowledge that there are some of those who are against having a vote that were saying, hey, well, residents can't, are unable to assess all of the details and the nuance of the project. And I wanted to wholeheartedly disagree with that and acknowledge that we've got some very smart, intelligent residents here in Oakland that absolutely can do as good of a job as we are doing on the council in terms of going through all the details and data and everything else. To me, the issue is that the current ballot measure is worded. It's worded as a terrible question. It's extremely vague. It doesn't provide any real value or information that will be helpful in an advisory capacity. So yeah, wholeheartedly disagree that with the public speakers that said our residents are unable to assess the details and the nuance of the project. I believe that, you know, our educated Oakland voters are not stupid. The ballot question is stupid. It's dumbed down in a way that is confusing, non-specific, uninformative. And I think the one commenter had it right. Based on the current question, we won't know if a voter is voting against Dave Cavell and John Fisher. They're voting against moving the A's from the Coliseum. They're voting against having 35% affordable housing instead of 50% affordable housing, or voting against the use of condominium transfer fees to fund a portion of the community benefits or not. And that level of just not being specific is going to be very uninformative, is not going to help us out, and we're going to be in a worse off situation at the end if this is what moves forward. If there was a survey or a ballot measure advisory, whatever you want to call it, for me to be supportive of it, it would have to be very targeted and specific in terms of highlighting the deal terms and having that be the question and not the backup materials if someone were to double click or read through a pamphlet, you know, that sort of thing. And so the things that would need to be in the question that are asked are, you know, the amount of City of Oakland revenues that are committed to the project that would exist regardless of whether the project were to happen, the amount of City of Oakland revenues committed to the project that would only exist if the project were to be completed, the amount of city dollars at risk if the revenues come in lower than projected, the amount of affordable housing units that are committed to be developed, both on-site and off-site, the amount of construction jobs that will be created, the amount of ongoing jobs that will be created, the amount of current tax revenues from Howard Terminal coming to the City of Oakland, and the amount of annual tax revenues that will be coming to the City of Oakland upon project completion. None of that detail is in the question, which means that it's not going to be an informed answer, not because we don't have, you know, intelligent residents, but because we're not actually framing the question in a way that will be informative and helpful. And so that, to me, is the concern with what we have. As is, I would not be able to support this measure. If there was a much more thorough question, perhaps, but I did want to just be on the record that we're not setting ourselves up for success with what's proposed, and that's my fear and concern with respect to what's being proposed.
Thank you. Councilmember Gallo?
Yes, I'd like to respond to that. You know, again, I understand what is being said, but you know, Loren, but you have to recognize we've been at this for years. We just didn't start this negotiation and planning. So you want to keep delaying it, more talk. Even the African American Sports and Entertainment Group. The African American Sports and Entertainment Group gave me resolution because there's no cooperation. That's public land that we own half, that we want to develop, make sure that East Oakland thrives like it used to. But you want to keep talking about it. Where is the plan, city staffers? We should have had that city council. But for me, having it come from the public is the motivation to get the job done. Provide the information that I requested, and that's going to get done in September. So at least Loren Taylor will have some numbers. Because right now, you don't have any to. You're absolutely right. You're just talking. I can ask a million questions, but what motivated me, and thanks to Carol Fife for bringing the item, what motivated me, right now you have about, 15,000 letters that are signed. We get emails daily. We get phone calls daily from the public. Due to the fact of what's going on in your streets, Loren Taylor, I've never seen Oakland the mess that it is today. So I want to get that job done, members of the city administration. I want to get those streets fixed. I want to get my schools open. And we don't have that information to get it done? Oh no, let's do another study. You can do all kinds of other things. So for me, Madam Chairperson, I will make a motion to honor the request of the public, with all due respect to each one of you, to get it on the ballot that'll force us to make sure that we get out there and negotiate and get the information and get the whatever it's going to cost the city taxpayers dollars, that we should have that information in front of us now, because I have the history of the Raiders. The A's are out there negotiating in Las Vegas daily, using us to leverage more resources from Las Vegas. That's how committed they are, Loren Taylor. And that's how committed they were going to Fremont and going to San Jose. And, but anyways, with all, Madam Chairperson, I'll go ahead and leave it at that, but I'll make a motion to honor the voters' request and get it on the ballot for November. And let us do the work to make sure we have the information to vote upon. Thank you.